the success of Sinners at the box office. I'm going to give you my full review of Thunderbolt, Marvel's latest entry into the MCU, as well as a few other things. Free comic book day, maybe we'll see how much time we got. But let's get into it. Let's get this show started. Yo. Listen, do me a favor. If you're new here to the movie blog, please do me a favor. Please hit that like button, smash that bell, turn on notifications, subscribe, all that good stuff. It still helps me in 2025 to make this channel grow, get us into some new audiences, some new screens, and get us some new opportunities. Now, I know tonight we talked about how we were going to get into The Last of Us. I am dying to get into The Last of Us. Let me see who we got up in here. Smoke One Kenobi. Yeah, we live. This is not the replay. This is the real deal. We here at the beginning. What's going on? I appreciate you coming through. I see that we got a few folks up in here, mostly joining us from X. What up, X? All my X-Men out there. Do me a favor, if you're watching on X, please give this video a heart, or do yourself a favor. Come on over to the TMB YouTube channel. Trust me, you get way more opportunities if you're watching on the channel. You get to engage with the chat that we have here. I know you can't see the chat, but trust me, there's a whole chat going on, right, Mike? Right, Mike? Tell him. There's a whole chat going on. Bonjour. Let me go ahead and get some of these things up here for us so we can start going through The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 3. Now, I know some people had mixed emotions about this episode. A lot of people were sitting here saying, like, man, I think more should have happened. And then some people were like, nah, they did what they needed to do for what preceded this episode. Now, if you have seen our reaction with the New Blurred Order, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's up on the channel here on the movie blog and on the New Blurred Order channel. I think that we kind of summarized a lot of the good stuff that we wanted to reflect as far as our feelings about this episode. But with this one, I definitely want to go through the episode and really let some of these moments breathe. You know what, let me put it over here so this way I look like I'm looking at it. Let's see. Michael said, I watched this. I understand why the episode was paced as it was, but it was boring. Oh, whew. All right, let's listen. I'm about to get into it right now. We're going to talk about this episode, and we absolutely going to definitely going to want to jump on that part. Let's see, share screen. All right. So, like I said, if you're just not joining in, welcome back to the channel, everybody. It's your TMB homie, Tony. Here, we're going to be diving into The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 3. This one was titled The Path. Now, if you thought last week's episode was heavy, buckle up, because this one hits, but it hits different. We're unpacking everything. We're unpacking emotions. We're unpacking story arcs. And yeah, there's some juicy Easter eggs that maybe you missed, maybe you didn't. So go ahead, grab a snack. Let's break this episode all the way down. Oh, there we go. Much better. I know. Listen, that wasn't on purpose, right? I don't do that. I don't do clickbait. I don't do filler. I'm just here to give you vibes, trauma, and a sprinkle of post-apocalyptic pettiness. But I ain't do that on purpose. Anyway, again, if before I go any further, if you're digging the content, please do me a favor. Go ahead, smash that like button, hit subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss single breakdowns. I'm going full spoiler, full detail, full drama every week. I know 80% of you are unsubscribed and wait till I get the cordyceps to find out you ain't one of us, because this is not going to look good. Go ahead, join up. Anyway, let's get into it. We open this episode with absolute devastation. Jackson is literally still burning from the horde attack. There's bodies everywhere, infected, non-infected. It doesn't discriminate. Amidst this chaos, we see Tommy quietly preparing Joel's body. And if that wasn't emotional enough, he whispers to Joel, "Give Sarah my love." Like, yo, that right there was heartbreaking. That was absolutely devastating. And the performance here, yo, Gabriel Luna is out here acting with more emotion in one eyebrow than some of the entire CW shows. So, chef kiss, right? He's been quietly kicking ass with all of his scenes so far, and I can't help but pay attention, especially here, especially now. Quick Easter eggs. Joel's broken watch is visible here. It's mirroring its iconic damage from the game's prologue. It's moments like these moments right here that remind us why we love this series, right? Because they care about reflecting the source material that promoted the show to be popular enough to be adapted into a television series. It matters. Switch gears. Ellie wakes up, lungs busted up and all, and immediately she's screaming. She's still stuck mentally at the moment that Joel was taken. Now, I honestly think that Bella Ramsey nails this scene, right? She's conveying raw panic and pain and so many emotions. It almost feels like a dark episode of ER. We fast forward a few months and Jackson is slowly bouncing back. Tommy's stepping up, growing in his leadership role. And Ellie, well, right, she's actually out here finessing her way out of the hospital by passing her therapy test with a 65 while hiding that deep pain and keeping her trauma bottled up tighter than Jackson's last can of Folgers. This girl's got more emotional security than a brick wall with PTSD. And honestly, I can't help but want to see just this woman just scream, Kevin, just one more time. I keep holding out hope it's going to happen, even though it doesn't make any sense in this show. But just one time. But something about Lydia, right? Either way. Ellie returns home and man, her going through Joel's belongings, his broken watch, his revolver, that jacket, it's a gut punch. I felt bad for Ellie in this moment. I have to admit that this old Mormont girl is eaten in this scene. Another Easter egg, Joel's revolver looks exactly like the one from the game, like exactly, which is a not so subtle nod to players of the game, right? We all know this pistol when we see it. And just as she's breaking down and getting in her emotions, here comes Dina. Now, Dina played perfectly by Isabella Merced, stops by, brings a peace offering, and then drops a bombshell that she's been keeping from Ellie. Dina knows exactly who murked Joel, complete with names, logos, and for a half a second, I thought she was going to draw a map. Like, Ellie's pissed because Dina sat on this info, but I'm stuck on the fact that Dina's such an astounding artist. Like, she did that from memory. Anyway, Dina checks her real quick when Ellie starts to step out of lines, talking about how she cost them time. And she had to remind Ellie that Joel's death is Jackson's loss too. Dina's low-key drawing skills, though. Like, yo, no eraser, no hesitation. Somebody give this girl an iPad and a comic book deal. Anyway, Ellie goes straight to Tommy, ready to roll out for revenge and gets slightly disrespectful with him too. And Tommy has to check her too and remind her that, like, look, Joel wasn't just your mentor, right? This was my brother, right? He was my brother before he first, right? He was my brother first. So she needs to watch how she's talking to him. Anyway, Tommy's got to bring this to the council, and Ellie's already having reservations about this. We cut to some eerie folks, right? Now, these new characters that are rocking the Glasgow smiles and medieval weapons, calling themselves the followers of the Prophet. Now, hardcore fans are going to recognize these as the Seraphites pulled straight from the game's second installment. They're another creepy group. They're strange. And they quickly get ambushed by another threat, right? Like, they're sitting here, they're having a good little moment. We're starting to get into the vibe of this little girl growing into her own, getting her own hammer, learning the rules of the game. And then, wham, they got to go into hiding, right? In this show, first off, another group. This show is just stacking enemies. Like, how many people is Ellie gonna have to go through to get her revenge? Like, this is starting to look like some Kill Bill thing where they just insert a whole bunch of mid bosses. Right now, I'm rooting for her, but I think something tells me that Ellie is no Uma Thurman. Anyway, next, Ellie is training with Jesse, and little thing, she has this thing hung up on her wall with drawings of weapons next to it. Let me just point that out in case you were wondering where her mindset was at this moment. Anyway, she's training with Jesse, boxing out her frustrations. Jesse, he's diplomatic as ever and admits that he is now actually a member of the council and actually advises her to approach the council logically, not emotionally. And Jesse's out here dropping gems like write out your thoughts because angry petitions, yeah, they don't work too well, Ellie. And this is actually some solid advice. Jesse's out here sounding like a TED Talk wrapped in flannel. Now, at the council meeting, Ellie's got a lot of support and she's got a lot of detractors. First two people who speak, they're on some, we've lost too many people as it is. We ain't got time for that. Or better yet, turn the other cheek because seeking out revenge never ends well. And it almost sounds right until we hear from Seth, aka Mr. Bigot Sandwich, and he backs up Ellie. He's still a jerk, but at least he's a jerk with some principles. Now, Ellie's speech is fire. She sat here, she talks about justice. She made it sound like it wasn't about her, it wasn't about Joel, it was about the glue that is the foundation of this town, which is togetherness, watching out for each other, having each other's back. And if somebody comes and does something to one of us, we all feel it. But then the council votes her down, which is like on some 8-3, Like it wasn't even close. It wasn't even 50-50, 8-3. And we could guess who the three were, right? We could sit here and we could guess who the three were just by looking at it. It's probably Tommy, it's probably his wife, and it's probably Jesse. Like there's really no other person here who was sitting here going with Ellie in her speech, which is a very, very, very telling sign about how people regard Ellie in this town, right? It's not just the therapist who thinks she's crazy. Everybody thinks she's off the rails, right? So Tommy even wants to get in on this. Like, yo, I don't think he expected the vote to be that one-sided. So he decides he's going to take a few moments and go talk to Gail. He's going to sit there and pick her brain. He's like, yo, I know you know this town as well better than everybody. You see things that people don't see. What's up? And he also leaves a hint that he's kind of worried that Ellie's becoming too much like Joel, violent, reckless, stubborn. Now, Gail drops wisdom, right? Ellie and Joel were two peas in a pod long before they even met. I don't think Joel was influencing Ellie. I think that they were walking side by side down this dysfunctional path. And this stops Tommy in his tracks because I don't think he ever saw it from that angle. I don't think he ever realized that Joel was an influence in Ellie. They were just two sides of the same coin. And that was some real wake up. For him. Anyway, we switch over to Ellie. She's determined as ever. Ellie starts packing heat, planning her own solo revenge mission. Dina pulls up and is like, yo, you're not going anywhere without me. And she suggests some logic be considered for this mission. Can we try logic sometimes? Is that on the table? Can we consider it? Like maybe instead of just bullets and weapons, maybe we want to be fully stocked with, I don't know, food, medicine, maybe something to go with these knives and bullets, just putting it out there. And maybe we don't just run out into the apocalypse with good intentions and expired protein bars. How about we just think this through? And Dina's strategic, balanced, and totally ride or die. Now, their chemistry is palpable. It's filled with awkward, adorable flirting. There's banter. There's body language. Again, Isabella is really doing her thing here. Anyway, they head out of town. They start looking over their maps, and Dina's got a full plan for them to meet up at 3 a.m. and she's going to get Shimmer and have people who support her help her get them out, whomever shall that be. And it turns out that Seth is their secret getaway driver. And Ellie isn't exactly thrilled, right? She tosses him some sass for good measure, but Seth squashes the beef. Well, I don't know. He tries to anyway. And they end the whole interaction with giving each other a handshake, which is nice, right? Which is nice because I don't think he deserved all that. Ellie visits Joel's grave, drops some coffee beans, which is a touching nod to their bond, and we have a little moment. She finally gets to have a moment. Now, this moment here reminded me immediately of those last moments when Joel was ended and she was clutching onto his body, tears running down her face. It feels like that she's finally getting a moment to process that and in her own way let go. That's her dropping the coffee beans, which is a touching nod to their bond. And then Dina and Ellie hit the road, and on the way they camp out for the night, and Dina's flirting again, asking Ellie to rate their kiss, which Ellie gives a solid 6 out of 10. Ouch. They also stumble upon the slaughtered Seraphites, and Dina literally pukes from the gruesome sight. And for real, Dina gagged so hard I thought she saw the Game of Thrones finale again. Ellie naturally is unaffected by what she sees. Hell, she's seen even worse, and this is a dark reminder of her traumatic past. Dina chalks it up to the smell, but some of us know that there's definitely more to unpack there. Anyway, one quick montage later, Seattle. Seattle, we're there. Another Easter egg here. The cityscape mirrors the Seattle section from the game perfectly, right down to specific landmarks. The closing scenes hit kind of hard. They realize Seattle is crawling with wolves, tanks, armored trucks, soldiers, way more than anticipated. And then quick note, Falcon watching over them from Seattle, acting like the watchtowers in the game. Like, yo, that's another little cool nod for fans who've been paying attention, like it's a final boss fight and they're on permadeath mode. Anyway, this is a chilling, sobering realization. Ellie and Dina are vastly outnumbered, setting up massive stakes for the next episodes. Anyway, that is The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 3. I'm curious how some of you all reacted to this episode. I know that when I saw this episode, I thought that, honestly, I really enjoyed them giving moments for not only for Ellie to mourn Joel, but also for Ellie to grow into her individualism. It's almost like when we see those legacy TV shows and then a succession happens where the ones that were the kids now become the adults. Well, that's exactly what this is. I'm bugging. Anyway, we're growing into understanding who her new supporting cast is, right? For the most part, it was just Joel and Ellie, and that was the duo that we followed throughout the season. Now it's Ellie and other people, with Ellie now becoming and taking over Joel and his role. I think that this is very, very important that they slow down, because it's almost like when you're aiming like a missile and you want to change the trajectory before you fire off. You want to make sure that we see the change in trajectory to understand everything that's about to happen. Now, I've played the game a little bit. I'm nowhere near done with the game. Maybe I'll live stream this week. We'll see. But I'm very curious about what everyone else's thoughts were to this particular episode. And what were your favorite moments? What didn't you like? Did you have a problem with the slow pacing? Or did you think that this was what we needed, especially after growing so close to Joel over the past season and 2 episodes? But yeah, let me know what you all think about that in the comments. I'm going to move on to the next segment for a moment, and then I'm going to switch back to see what you all say in the comments. Now, where we at? There we go. So this has been really interesting to me. So Thunderbolts came out, and man, I can't wait to talk about Thunderbolts, because Thunderbolts was a pleasant surprise. And I know I'm the one who's been sitting here saying, oh, I haven't been really enjoying Marvel stuff lately. But this one won me over. This was the movie that I absolutely did enjoy. I had a good time with, and I absolutely think you would enjoy if you check it out as well. But something that was a real big question for me was, how is this going to impact the box office of Sinners? We know that Sinners is in theaters still, right? It's still in theaters. It was holding the IMAX and other specialty format screens for, I believe, just a 2-week window. And because the movie is leaving IMAX, Thunderbolts is going to be taking those screening times. I thought this was really interesting because I honestly have heard multiple times from people that I know who were on the fence about seeing this movie outright say, oh man, I'm sorry I missed the IMAX opportunity. I wish that this was still in IMAX because I haven't seen it yet. And you can tell that there's a demand for it because the movie is going to open back in IMAX, I think, for like 2 weeks or something. And each viewing sold out like instantly. Every seat, even the ones in the front, when you got to do this, right? Like you just looking straight up their nose. Even those seats are sold out. So this is really interesting because I wonder what is Warner Brothers going to do. They have on their hands a movie that is just constantly bringing in money at unprecedented rates for an original IP. Selling out whenever they pull it in IMAX. They literally just don't have in their agreement any additional time for this IMAX screening. So I'm wondering, what are they going to do? So we've already seen Thunderbolts is going to have a massive opening. I think it's opening to like $70 million, which is great. It's a little behind Captain America Brave New World with its opening weekend, but that movie at least had a recognizable IP name associated with it, whereas Thunderbolts, not many people really know what they're getting into if they're just casual fans. Sinners, however, now on its third weekend, was surprisingly able to hold its own. Falling to just second place, Sinners held on for another great Friday, adding another 9.5 million, down just 27% from its daily total a week ago. Again, these are unprecedented numbers. Typically, films, when released in theaters, have, I would say, on average, a 50% drop in their second weekend. Maybe an additional 50 to that on their third weekend, dropping to something like 25%. Sinners has not dropped that much. I think the second weekend it dropped like 20%. It was like a phenomenal number. So yeah, the Sinners is going on to continue to hold down significant profits for Warner Brothers by being in theaters. And this is also after it had already lost its IMAX and most premium large format auditoriums to Thunderbolts. But yeah, like I said, even after losing revenue from those luxury seats, the movie falling just 25% in its third weekend is remarkable. So yeah, Ryan Coogler, congratulations. This was a big win for him and everyone involved. It sits at, I think, 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. This movie has definitely beat out every expectation with this style of storytelling, right? Black horror, vampire lore, Southern theology, all of this winning on the big screen. And I can't wait to see how people react when they get the chance to finally see it in IMAX, because going back to IMAX, that's a flex, right? Like you normally leave IMAX and get back in unless you're Christopher Nolan. That's a flex, or Tom Cruise. That means word of mouth is working. The cast is carrying this heat. Michael B. Jordan's doing his thing in dual roles. Jamie Lawson is eating every scene, and Coogler's direction is like he's in his own genre now. Mark my words, this film's going to creep into award season conversations. And if it doesn't, we rioting. Respectfully. But yeah, Sinners is doing its thing. I'm very, very proud of this film. I can't wait to see what it does when it hits back into IMAX theaters in the coming weeks. Okay, let's move this on. Let me see what you all are saying. Did y'all say anything about let's see. Michael Lamont, popcorn in hand. You, that was before listening to the recap. Appreciate you. This was a heart-wrenching scene. Yes, this moment with Ellie leaving those coffee beans for Joel. That was a rough one. That was a rough one. I'm surprised. I'm surprised the streets ain't get flooded with tears, honestly. Like, I really thought this was going to have some wild reactions, especially in this day and age. The adults suck. How are they going to have two teenagers go take on a group of military trained people? Come on. Like, and they knew it was going to happen, but they was thinking about the numbers. They were sitting here like, we got to do for the greater good. We got to think about the larger numbers. And to a degree, they're right? There's still babies in this place, right? There's still children in this place. That sounds like some stuff Rick would do. And Rick, we saw what happened in his towns. They work better without him. Let's see. What'd you say? Thunderbolts was fire. Fernando. Yes, I agree. Thunderbolts was fire. Pleasant surprise. I would actually see it again. I would actually totally be okay with seeing this movie again. And I don't normally say that about a lot of Marvel. Well, not in recent memory. I can't remember the last Marvel movie. Maybe Deadpool and Wolverine. I was like, oh, I want to see that again. Maybe. But yeah, this one was good. I really enjoyed that. Sinners had a good run, but Thunderbolts is going to dominate. I hope so. I mean, Thunderbolts right now is tracking below Captain America Brave New World. So I'm hoping in its second week, it's able to kind of continue earning to really bring Marvel back into those major conversations that we used to have, like when they were just dominating all the time. We just wanted to constantly go back and watch the movie over and over and over again. So I'm hoping that this is one of those things for them. I really do wish well for the Marvel brand and franchise. I love these characters. I love these worlds. I'm hoping it does it. I'm hoping it does it. They should not have taken so long to go see it in IMAX. But this is what happens when you have stories people don't know, right? Like a lot of people I know didn't even know Sinners was coming out. Like they'd never heard of it, right? Like they didn't see any advertisements for it. There were no, like, and I live in New York City. So when I say advertisements, typically what we look for like billboards or maybe something at bus stops, like posters or something on the sides of buses. They'll have like banners on it. Or even in the subway, we'll see things that will let us know that the movie is coming out. And Sinners didn't really have that. A lot of the people who I knew about it was because I told them about it. And that was like their big thing. They were like, "Oh, Ryan Coogler's got a movie? How come I didn't know that?" Like that was the main reaction. But now that they know and they're like, well, is it good? Like Sinners, what vampires? I don't really do horror like that. These are tough sells, right? Horror, vampires, rated R. These are tough sells in the box office. Those movies don't traditionally do, like hundreds of millions of dollars like that. Like maybe 800 million, maybe, but not hundreds, plural. But yeah, the Sinners is one of those movies that was going an uphill battle anyway, being an original property. I didn't see much advertising for it, and Yeah, it's just an unproven thing. Like when we say, "Oh, there's an Avengers movie coming out," I think people will have an easier time to say, "All right, I'll see it," and I'm even if they don't even know what it's about, right? They'll be like, "Well, I know I had a good time with the last one, so I'll see the new one, and hopefully they deliver." Right? Like Avengers has that impulsivity to it that Sinners didn't enjoy. Anyway, I could go on and on. What else? Thunderbolts is the best MCU movie since Spider-Man No Way Home. I could say yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We don't even have to limit it to the movies, right? We could go into Disney Plus too, right? Like it's this is definitely the best thing since then. And that is true. 100% true. Um I think Sinners will get a sequel? I don't know if sequel Sinners needs a sequel. Honestly, I don't think it really needs one. I feel like it was like one of those one and dones. I think the best example was like From Dusk Till Dawn. It was like one of those movies that should end at one, right? Like I get it, leave me wanting more, but we good, we good, right? Like, what are we going to find out? That Sammy had more adventures with vampires in between when we see him at the beginning of Sinners and when he is older. Like, maybe, like, do we really need that? Because like, it would feel forced, and I don't think unless there's a underlying story that's of real value to tell, I don't know if it's necessary. I would say let Coogler and Michael B move on to other projects that they can work on together, similar to what Christopher Nolan does with some of his actors, right? Like Killian, we ain't got to keep doing the same movie. We could do. I got other ideas. Let's cook, right? So that's where I think that it can really shine. But yeah, let me go ahead. Let me share this with you all. Let's talk about Thunderbolts. Okay, so let me go ahead and start. So, what happens when Marvel throws the B team into the deep end without a lifeguard, right? You get trauma, you get desperation, and you get one very pissed off Sentry. This is Thunderbolts, and it's got hands, y'all. This movie's got hands. But hey, welcome back to TMB The Correct Opinion. If you're just now joining, I'm Anthony, and today we're diving into the Thunderbolts movie review and reaction. Now, Marvel took MCU's most unstable characters and gave them a mission, threw in a god tier threat, and basically said, figure it out. And surprise, chaos ensues. So, does it work? Yeah, but also, what the fuck just happened? Like, what the heck? What just happened? Let's catch up. A group of anti-heroes that we've met from several previous Marvel films and television shows. Yelena Belova, who's taking over as the new Black Widow. Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier. Red Guardian, Ghost, Taskmaster, John Walker, aka U.S. Agent. They all get wrangled into a mission by Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. And they're initially forced into what looks like a black ops heist, except the heist goes wrong. And then there's a splash of redemption arc. Look, most of them fight each other on sight until Taskmaster gets murked and they discover they're locked in a room with a person they later learn is Marvel's most dangerous science project, Bob Reynolds, aka the Sentry. By the way, this is a spoiler review. Let's get into the good. This movie slapped, right? Louis Pullman as the Sentry is phenomenal. I saw this casting and immediately knew that Marvel was back to getting it popping like fish grease. Bob is sweet. He's kind. He looks like the kind of guy who says sorry when you bump into him. And then he turns into what looks like an Asgardian god, right down to the blonde hair and ultra chiseled physique. He's majestic. And he's utterly brutal as the Sentry, almost like a Viltrumite. He easily dog walks the Thunderbolts without even breaking a sweat. And then he breaks. And then the Void shows up. And suddenly, we're not in Marvel anymore. We're in a fucking horror movie. There's one moment I loved, and if you're a longtime fan, it hits. Like there's this moment where the Thunderbolts try to ambush the Sentry inside the same room that the Hulk ragdolled Loki in Avengers Tower. And let me tell you, Bob makes the Hulk look gentle, right? He makes him look gentle. He demolishes every single one of them. Yelena gets yeeted. Red Guardian gets bent like a lawn chair. Bucky ends up in a wall. It's brutal, hilarious, and it's a big reminder they are not ready for this man. Florence Pugh, she is the soul of this movie. Her Yelena carries the grief, the sarcasm, and the moral compass, sometimes all in the same scene. She gives Taskmaster a real moment of humanity, which is wild considering Taskmaster gets about 5 lines total, but still pulls it off she still pulls it off with an award quality performance. And then there's John Walker, aka US Agent, aka not Captain America. He's become the MCU's punching bag. And yeah, it's funny, but it hurts. Wyatt Russell brings this tragic energy to Walker. Like he's trying so hard to be the hero. He gives speeches, he takes hits, he stands tall and still ends up being the joke. There's a scene where he steps up to the void like it's his moment. And Bob just okos him like everyone and everyone just keeps moving, right? There's no dramatic music, there's no payoff, and he just gets humbled. I felt that. There's a chicken fight scene. There's a chicken fight scene. This isn't what you think. Unless you're a Family Guy fan, then this is exactly what you think. And this is another wild moment in this movie. It happens when the team is traveling through a dreamscape and a journey that seems a lot like Multiverse of Madness mixes with a little WandaVision for good measure. It's dumb, it's fun, it's loud, it's Marvel with the lid off. And the costumes, fire, fuego. Oh my gosh, the costumes. Even Ghost, who literally flickers in and out of visibility, manages to rock a stealth suit that makes S.H.I.E.L.D. agents jealous. But definite hats off to Dave Fontaine's costume department for giving my man the Sentry the best MCU costume I've seen in years. And that includes the Wolverine costume. Nah. Bob's costume, they snapped. They snapped with this one. That shit was straight fire. But before you get me too hyped, look, this ain't a perfect movie. The early fights, Yelena's hallway scene, the action starts off stiff and over choreographed, like actors practicing for the real take that never came. Like I half expected her to say, "This is where you fall down." The jokes are relentless. Like Marvel brought in a sitcom laugh track and never turned it off. Like this movie just can't stop joking. Every moment you think it's going to be serious, it's got a wisecrack, right? You'll have characters confronting trauma, and in the middle of it, someone drops a pun. And the shit is relentless. It's just downright relentless. Like, I want to feel bad. But someone always has to act like it's open mic night and John Walker is sitting in the front row. And I have to take a moment to just talk about how wasted Taskmaster is in this movie. Don't get me wrong. Don't fall for it. I wasn't caping for Taskmaster in the Black Widow movie, and I didn't really like the direction they took the character. But even with that said, I still felt like her character deserved better. The murking felt like a throwaway, and it wasn't additive to the story in any way. They could have had Taskmaster's passing mean something. Like, I don't know, maybe have an Agent Phil Coulson moment, right? Where her passing rallies the team to work together. But nope, she was here and gone, and then the vulture started picking the meat off her bones before her body was even cold. And another thing, Valentina's tone shift is jarring. Like, sometimes she's cold and calculating. Other times she's cracking jokes like she's auditioning for The View. I don't know who wrote her scenes, but they definitely didn't talk to the person writing The Void. And the stakes? Listen, you've got world-ending power in play. But the fallout is basically, we'll just undo all the consequence of the void. Let's just undo everything so nobody actually got hurt. Like, what? Like, the MCU's just gonna move on like that wasn't a full-on God slapping people through buildings for what? What? And where the F is Spider-Man? Where the F is Spider-Man? Last time he saw a world-ending threat, he didn't run away from the beef. He ran towards it. That's how he ended up on a spaceship in Infinity War. You mean to tell me he didn't see this shit going down and feel like maybe he should get involved? Yo, this dude fights sand monsters, but he won't try to come out here and save. What the? So here's where I land. Thunderbolts is messy. Thunderbolts is unhinged. But Thunderbolts is occasionally brilliant. It's Marvel letting their freak flag fly. And even when it stumbles in an interesting direction. The performances are solid, the spectacle is bonkers, and the character beats, especially for Yelena and Sentry, they hit harder than expected. Chaotic fun? Yeah, that's the phrase. Chaotic fun. If you're here for flawless storytelling, this might not be it, bro. This might not be it. But if you want a multiversal fistfight type energy with some emotional scars, welcome to the show. Anyway, that's all I have for my Thunderbolts review. Look, if you like what you heard, make sure, please hit that like, subscribe, drop a comment. Let me know what you guys who are watching live thought about this movie. Was the Sentry too OP? Because, like, they gave him some powers that I don't think he had in the comics. Like, he couldn't just make you relive your worst memory by touching you before. And he couldn't pop up in your dream, right? That was the other thing about it. Not only did he make you relive your worst memory, he was there to watch. Front seat. Was he too OP? Is John Walker ever going to catch a break? My man got his shield bent and nobody bent it back. Yo, and you know what's the worst part? You in a room, you got 3 super soldiers. Bucky's got a vibranium arm. You mean nobody's going to help him fix his shield? Why is he still using that one? And who do you think deserves a solo spinoff now? Do we think we need a new Black Widow movie with Yelena? Do we think we need another movie with the Thunderbolts? Or maybe U.S. Agent? Anyway, let me know what y'all think in the comments. Again, if you're just now joining, please give this video a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you all think. But what are y'all saying in the comments right now? Let's bring this back. Let's bring it back. Oh, we're going in, Fernando. We're going in. I'm sorry. I threw it in there like, oh, I should say that this is spoilers. But yeah. A prequel sounds awesome. A prequel to Sinners would be dope. Yes, because I want to know how. So I need to see more about them Native Americans. I want to know about these cowboy horseback riding Native Americans that are hunting vampires across the United States. I need to see this story. Now, this is a question that I actually posed to E-Man, to pose to Ryan Coogler. Shout out to E-Man from E-Man's Reviews. I think he has his interview with Coogler posted on his channel. He might have a video, but Coogler came to Chicago, talked to him, and one of the questions I was like, yo, you got to ask him about a prequel. He asked him. I don't think Coogler was aware that there would be such an interest in the Native Americans, but I think that there is, and they absolutely would eat in a spinoff movie about vampire hunting Native American. Yo, make it so. But yeah, back to Thunderbolts. The Void was crazy. Yes. I was so pleasantly surprised. I was wondering if they was going to give him like the crab claw look. Like, is he going to look like Ursula, but in shadow? Was that the direction they was going to, Ursula from the Little Mermaid? Like, is that the direction they was going to go? But they kept it simple, but they kept it terrifying. Like, whoo, they cooked with this one. They cooked. Taskmaster was done dirty. She didn't last more than 5. Yeah, that was a big problem for me because Taskmaster was actually the most redeemable one, surprisingly. Like, she was the first one to sit here and be like, I'm going to help one of y'all. Like we're not here to just take each other out. I'm not even here for you. I'm here for the other. Like it could have been so much better. I would have liked to see more Ghost. She disappears in the second half of the movie. Me too. Like if you're gonna give these characters presence in this film, let them have some really good moments. I feel like every character had so much opportunity to delve into them a little bit more. I think one of the biggest missed opportunities is that we didn't follow each of the characters into their hidden fears when they went into Bob's shadow world. I think Ty might have brought this up on the New Blurred Order yesterday, but yeah, I think that was one of the biggest missed opportunities because it would have given us opportunities to learn more and connect more with these characters, especially on a rewatch, right? Like if I learned something in the latter part of the movie that makes this character's earlier actions seem more significant, I might watch it again. But yeah, I would have liked to see more there too. They spent a little bit too much time in the facility. Yes. Yes. They could have just made the movie a little longer, but yes, the facility was a little. It didn't need to be that long. I agree. I totally agree that was a long time, right? Maria Graciela says, I really enjoyed the movie, but the third act was weak. So, yes. I think, again, my biggest issue with the third act for me anyway was two things. One, where the F is Spider-Man, right? For a world that is supposed to be an interconnected universe, it's horribly inconsistent as to when these characters get involved. Sure, maybe we'll learn in the future that Spider-Man was off saving people in Queens. Maybe he was in Queens. Maybe he was in Brooklyn. Maybe he was somewhere else when all this stuff was going down and he couldn't make it to Manhattan. But I would have liked to have just gotten a hint of what these other characters were doing that inhabit this island. Like there's a lot of heroes on the island of Manhattan. Even if it was like I think Bad Ty said, if it's like you pass by a TV and there's a news reporter talking about, a man in unbreakable skin is holding up a building with on top that fell on top of an orphanage, like something like that, right? Like or Kingpin, like vigilantes, whatever. But yeah. What's the next one? I can't take her seriously after seeing her play Elaine in Seinfeld for so many years. I can take her seriously. It just depends on if they give her jokes. Because if they give her jokes, then I think that because I'm so familiar with her, I almost anticipate her comedic beats, which are really, really good. Like she's sharp with the comedy. When she's delivering her lines, they're really good. I'm not saying that she's doing a bad job. She's actually doing really freaking good. But it's a lot of comedy. It's a lot of comedy, especially for a character that wasn't displaying this level of comedy in her previous appearances. I just felt like it was a big shift in her character, personality, and the way that they present her. Let's see. Maybe Peter was too depressed. He lost his girlfriend and beat friend after. He don't want to come out? No. Nah, Pete. He listen. With great power, Spider-Man's gonna pop up, right? Typically, he don't back down from a fight. My man saw a big, giant circle Ferris wheel building size thing terrorizing Manhattan. He jumped out of a moving bus off of a bridge and he ran towards the beef. He ain't run away from it. He ran towards the beef. So Spider-Man is on some goon stuff in the MCU. He don't turn around from a fight, even if he might not win. So yeah, I'm going to need an explanation and an understanding as to what Peter happened to be doing when New York was under attack this day. Yelena is more interesting than Natasha. Let me think about that one. Is Yelena more interesting than Natasha? I disagree because Natasha's been eaten since Iron Man 2. And ever since that we got introduced to her, there's always been this aura of mystique and mystery that carried her appeal for years. Now, I do think that the character having a movie after we had her on-screen passing in Avengers Endgame, I don't think that was really a well-timed release, even for a prequel. I do like that it did have the passing of the torch with Yelena, but I do think that Scarlett Johansson just has too many iconic moments in the MCU franchise for Yelena to compare right now. Now, not to knock Yelena, she is super interesting. She's super impressive, and she's had some great appearances in the MCU thus far. But I still remember the moment. I still get chills from that moment in Captain America Civil War when Black Widow was walking with I think it was T'Challa over to his car, or walking up on T'Challa, and the Dora Milaje was like, move or be moved. And I immediately needed to see this fight. She's got that aura to her that makes me instantly think, how does she match up to Adora Milaje? I don't get that from Yelena yet. I'm not saying she can't handle Adora Milaje, but I would be concerned. I would be concerned. I would be concerned because Black Widow can hold up for a while against super soldiers. We've seen her fight super soldiers and hold her own. Yelena got hurt by John Walker, the same dude who got beat up by the Dora Milaje. I need to see her have some more iconic moments for me to build up that excitement for her right now. I think that she's got a lot more interest because she's new and she's refreshing, but I don't want to dismiss all of the cool things that I love about Natasha. And I was going to say this in the New Blurred Order yesterday, but I forgot to bring it up. I honestly think Natasha would have been a better fit for this movie than Yelena. No cap. I think if Natasha didn't get murked in another movie and she was still operating as a Black Widow, I think that she would have been a better fit into these Thunderbolts than this one. It would have helped if we also got Hawkeye as well, but I think that Black Widow, with her history, with her appeal, with what we know of her, would have had the proper buildup. Plus, it would have possibly leaned into the relationship that she shares with Bucky in the comics. Now, I don't know what Marvel's going to do in the future with Marvel Studios, but in the comics, I'm going to just say Black Widow and Bucky got some history. And they could have leaned into that. So I would have been really interested if Natasha was here. Markeisha, what's going on? Appreciate you. Thank you for coming through. Oh, snaps. We live. Listen, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. We've been going live for like 53 minutes. I'm probably going to wrap this up within the next half hour or so. But yeah, I did. We live right now. We talked about The Last of Us. We're talking about Thunderbolts right now. Let me see what you all think about Thunderbolts. The movie was better than expected. I wish I could have seen more of Sentry's powers. Yo, we didn't listen. Listen, the Thunderbolts couldn't handle any more of Sentry's powers. Okay, listen. Even Yelena said it, like, oh, so we just shoot and have knives? There's 3 super soldiers and no real powers. Like, if there was a real threat, they are not nearly the same level of team as the Avengers. Even after 14 months after the end of the movie, for those of you who saw the end credit scene, you saw that the Thunderbolts became the Avengers, or the new Avengers. Even 14 months into it, they're still the B-Vengers. The B-Vengers. Like, the public isn't accepting them. There are 3 super soldiers, a spy, and a person who phases through walls. What are they going to do if the Hulk shows up? Or the Red Hulk? Right? Them 3 super soldiers, I don't know. What are they going to do if there's a magical threat? They ain't got no Doctor Strange. What are they going to do? They ain't got no Iron Man. What are they going to do? They could not handle any more of Bob showing off his powers. They were overwhelmed. They were overwhelmed. Oh man, how many people's checking? We got 12 on YouTube, 30 on X. What's going on, all my X-Men? Appreciate you coming through. Listen, if you're watching on X, do me a favor, please give this video a heart, or if you feel so inclined, come on over to YouTube. Listen, the chat over on YouTube is popping. There's a lot going on in the chat. I know you guys can't all see the chat, but the chat can see the chat because they're on YouTube, and I can see the chat from all the platforms we're on. We're live now on YouTube, X, and I think we're live on Rumble, because why not? See how it is. I hear these guys are welcoming. Nice people. See what's going on Rumble. Let's see. Red Guardian and Natasha and Yelena deserve solo movies. Slow down. Red Guardian and Yelena, I would be all right if they had like a Disney Plus series. Like, give us New Avengers, the TV show, like Avengers West Coast type, low level, almost getting what would they do against Ultron? Yeah. Yeah. I don't even think they can handle Sandman. Like, this is yo, stop. We gotta stop. We gotta hold on. Oh, all right. I stopped taking Natasha seriously after that first Avengers, but the heroes were all back to back. And then there she was with her pitiful little gun. Like, girl, what are you gonna do that the Hulk can't? Nothing except be persuasive. Like, I don't think so. So the interesting thing about Natasha to me is that she keeps up with super soldiers, which is incredible. I'm not saying she's beating a super soldier, but she keeps up with super soldiers. When she had that fight in was it Winter Soldier or Brave New World? I think it was, no, I'm sorry, was it Winter Soldier or Civil War? I think it was Civil War, where she was fighting Bucky. Like, Bucky was like running through the building, and she started giving him these elbows on the top of his head, like giving him the business, electrocuting him. I was like, yo, Natasha, like, with a super soldier with a bionic arm. Yo, like, and we know what super soldiers who are capable can do. Captain America was in a fist fight with Ultron. Super soldiers who know what they can, like, know how to handle themselves are a problem. Natasha could keep up with super soldiers, but yo, Yelena is not there. Yelena is not there. So I hear you. But Natasha gave us what? She was in Iron Man 2 before that, before Avengers, and she was kind of cooking. She was cooking. She was cooking. She was doing a thing. Century, the century, not century like the year or 100 years, century like a person who stands guard, Sentry, can take Doomsday by himself, right? I don't know, because Sentry, to my expectation, he's going to be Superman level strength, and Superman can't take Doomsday by himself. So I don't know about that one. I don't know. He meant to say Dr. Doom. Oh, well, he could take Dr. Doom by himself. I don't know, because we don't know what this Dr. Doom is going to be capable of. Now, I know in the comics, if Dr. Doom was unprepared, then it would be a challenge for Doom. But if Dr. Doom was like prepared, he's got way too much intelligence and way too much ability to lose to the Sentry, mainly because in addition to his ability to be hyper smart, create devices, he creates suits of armor. His intelligence is on par, up there with Reed Richards, who's usually recognized as the smartest person in the universe. And he's competing with him on an intellectual level. He's also got the capability of magic, which is something that Iron Man and Reed Richards don't. He actually took the time to learn the mystic arts to grow to the level to compete with Stephen Strange for the role of Sorcerer Supreme. I believe there's a comic storyline right now going on in comics where he is the Sorcerer Supreme. He is the top magician in Marvel. Like, nobody's power exceeds his on a magical level. So, Dr. Doom, I think if they were to give us an iteration that was similar to what they have in the comics, would overpower the void. He would, especially if he's prepared. If he's unprepared, there's a chance it would be a challenge. But yeah. Let me see. Markeisha is laughing. The post-credit scene spoils the ending of Fantastic Four. Yeah, but wasn't it kind of predictable? Like, what are we talking about? It was like, oh man, the rain made it prove that the water was wet. Like, we knew that universe wasn't lasting. Once they said that they were in another universe and that Doomsday was coming and that they were going to star in it, we kind of could figure out that this universe isn't going to be around much longer. That universe is probably going to go. So I think it was like a foregone conclusion that we like to highlight to kind of just, I don't know. I think as we could sometimes like to prove people or try to make people put people down for something that was clear. I don't know. Marvel doesn't deserve to be singled out for spoiling this one. I don't think. Oh, shoot. You know, I was going to I didn't have enough time, but I was going to put on my Jedi costume. May the fourth be with y'all. I mean, wait, hold on. Not we don't is this the wrong show? Is it all right, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. May the fourth be with you, mother. Oh man, how could I forget? May the fourth be with you all. Happy Star Wars Day, everybody. I feel like Natasha keeping up with super soldiers was just plot armor because there ain't no daggone way. Listen, she was a formidable Black Widow. Okay, she was not an average Black Widow. Hopefully, they'll show us one day that she has enhancements that we don't know about to help justify it. But so far, this woman was cooking. Like, yo, ain't nobody else like her. Let me see what else we got. Doomsday gotta legit be the scariest of Superman's villains. He's even scarier than Darkseid to me, and Darkseid is basically the embodiment of evil itself. So there's a story from way back when, a rematch between Superman and Doomsday. I think the first time, we all know how that ended. Superman got murked. But the second time, Doomsday somehow came back and got dropped on Apocalypse, where Darkseid is. And Darkseid sends all his forces to stop Doomsday, and they all get crushed. And it ends up to the point where Doomsday and Darkseid get into a fist fight and have to try to resolve it themselves. I ain't going to spoil that comic, but for all you comic heads out there, and I know there's some of you out there who don't know all these great stories that exist, go find Superman Doomsday 2. I think it was created by the same creative team that did the end of Superman, Dan Jurgens and Kurt Busiek, I think it was. Maybe Kurt. I could be wrong. But yeah, go ahead and find that story. It's a really, really, really cool story. Word. Live long and prosper, my man. Live long and prosper, my G. Dope Saber. Thank you. I got this one from Star Wars Celebration, I think in 2022 in Anaheim. It was when I think we got to be there during, they had the premiere of Obi-Wan, and they were starting to tell us about Andor. And man, Andor was something, it turned out to be way different than what they announced back then. And I don't think anybody really wants to talk about what they initially announced versus what came out. But man, Andor, like the way when they announced it, they was like, yo, We got 22 episodes. We're going to break it into 2 parts or something like that, some crazy thing. And then they came back late and it was like, nah, it's going to be 2 seasons, but they're only going to be 3 months apart in releases because we've already filmed everything. This is back in 2022. And they had just started filming Ahsoka because they had already finished filming all 22, 24 episodes of Andor. And here we are in 2025, and we're just now getting the second part of Andor. So I can't help but wonder what happened in the 3 years. Like, it was supposed to come out in 2022, 2023, and then it didn't come out till 2 years later. I smell a reshoot. Like, what are we doing? Anyway, nobody wants to talk about that. Hey, thank you. Yes, Doomsday was on Apocalypse. This had to be the 90s, maybe the early 2000s. This was a while ago. I've been reading comics since 93, 94. Like, at one point I had read every issue of Amazing Spider-Man from 1 to like 500. And then I was real, like, I don't think I understand. For a while, this channel wasn't going to be about movies. I was going to just sit there and try to be like Comics Explained or Comic Historian, because my comic book knowledge is heavy. But I decided to go with movies and TV. Andor is the best Star Wars Disney has done. Made me go watch Rogue One again. Listen, I'm happy that you enjoy it. I wish I enjoyed it more, but I am happy for everyone who does enjoy it. I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, because I don't enjoy it, cancel it, right? Like, oh, I'm not going to go online and promote, this is the worst thing Star Wars has ever done. And I'm not one of those people. I don't put down Star Wars shows just because I don't like it. But I do I respect it, enjoy it. You know, it's dope. We all should have stories that we all enjoy in each universe. And Andor, I'm glad, is where you're finding your entertainment. I just Googled the end of credits of Thunderbolts. I had no desire to see that movie, and yeah, that's a wild way to screw over the Fantastic Four. Yo, Skylar, it's not a bad movie. Like, I hear you. You talking to the man who never saw Secret Invasion. And you know why I never saw Secret Invasion? Because I didn't want that stuff taking up space in my memory banks. Straight up. And I don't think it could get more sincere and honest than that. I literally just don't want it taking up space in my memory banks. I'm not watching Secret Invasion. I'm not watching Agatha. I'm not watching Echo. I'm not watching Daredevil, Born Again. Like, there's a lot of stuff. Spider-Man, the Friendly Neighborhood cartoon. What If season 3? I don't know. But Thunderbolts? You did all right. Thunderbolts. You did all right. I respect it. Go ahead. R.I.P. Comic Historian. Yeah, R.I.P. to Benny, man. R.I.P. to Benny. You know, I got to meet Benny once. Years ago at New York Comic Con. I met him, and I met Rob from Comics Explained. I'm actually a member of the Rob Corps. And you know you're a true member of the Rob Corps when you have your Rob Corps ring. Where's my ring? It's on my desk somewhere. I'm not going to dig it up right now, but I do have an actual Rob Corps lantern ring that Rob gave me personally. Like, it's a funny story, but yeah, cool thing. I got to meet Comic Story, and I got to meet Rob. This had to be 2021, 2022, something like that, at New York Comic Con. Rob and Benny were just walking around. They had a panel. They actually had their own panel, which was unheard of for YouTubers at the time. Just to have a panel, like, what are you going to talk? And they just did Q&A, which was great. Let's see. I understand people who don't like it. It takes 5 or 6 episodes to really get going. So I was on the panel with the New Blurred Order yesterday, and Michael said the same thing that I've been saying, like almost word for word, almost like he was trying to, like, he's been watching my show and he said it word for word. Anyway, he was like, I don't watch Andor because I can't get past the third episode. It keeps putting me to sleep. And some of you have heard me say these exact words. I want to watch, I want to enjoy Andor, but it makes my eyelids so heavy by episode 3 because I still don't understand why this dude shot those people. I don't understand why are we here. It just I'm sorry. I want to like it. I really do. I tried 3 times, maybe 4. I tried like 3 times and I had to start over from the beginning because I'm like, there must be something I missed to explain why we're here. It can't be me. I do this for like, I've been doing this for like 10 years, 15 years, whatever it is. I follow story. I follow plot. What is going? I'm sorry. Enjoy Andor, my man. I don't want to. I never read Thunderbolts. How comic book accurate is the movie? Not at all. Not at all. Because in the comics, the Thunderbolts were appeared as a team when, like, I think this was when the Avengers sacrificed themselves for Onslaught. So there was a time when, like, Onslaught, which was the combination of Magneto and Professor X, took on the X-Men and the Avengers and the Fantastic Four. And in order to stop Onslaught, those heroes had to sacrifice themselves. And for a while, there were no Avengers on Earth because they were all sacrificed. So to kind of fill the void, another team showed up. And there was this dude named Citizen V who walked around with like an American flag for a cape and had a sword. There was this dude in armor called, I think, Mach 1. There was this woman called Songbird who had harmonics who flew out of her mouth, kind of like Black Canary in DC Comics. There were like all these other characters in the Thunderbolts that were very, very different than the characters that we see in the movie. And then they're doing heroic things in the Thunderbolts group. They're starting to be accepted by the world to be heroes. And then at the end of the comic, there's a wild twist, like M. Night Shyamalan level. I didn't see this coming at all level twist when it's revealed that Citizen V is actually Baron Zemo in disguise. And all of the heroes on the team are actually villains masquerading as heroes in order to win over the public for their own nefarious plot. So the movie is not at all comic accurate. The comic was about something else completely. This is more similar to the Dark Avengers story than the Thunderbolts, when Norman Osborn created his own Avengers team out of villains, with some of them actually wanting to do good or good-ish, or just not nearly as evil as Norman Osborn intended for them to be. So I would say, if anything, it's closer to Dark Avengers than Thunderbolts, the comic. Don't watch Daredevil Born Again. I made that mistake. You know, I came close. E-Man was really pushing me to watch it. He was like, yo, you got to watch this. They just gave me the whole season. It's really good. Marvel is back. And I was like, is it as good as the Netflix series? He was like, slow down. I didn't say that. He's like, I said it was really good. I said, is it as good as the Netflix series? He's like, it's really good. And I was like, all right, well, that tells me everything. And I'm going to wait for the show to release, see what the public reaction is before I go into that. But yeah, I didn't watch it. I love Andor. It's just as good as The Mandalorian. Sweet. Listen, happy for you. Not really in love with The Mandalorians last season, but I'm happy for you. I'm really, Mandalorian started off really good. And some of Boba Fett when The Mandalorian took over. But I'm happy for you, man. Look, everybody's got different taste, and that's okay. I think one of the best things that Star Wars has been doing is that they've been making different shows for different target audiences. Now, audiences don't like that because when they're not the target audience, they call it bad. They downplay it, they dispel it. Secret Invasion, maybe it was for somebody else, wasn't for me. Echo, heard it was really good for certain people, wasn't for me. I loved The Acolyte, wasn't for everybody. I loved Ahsoka, wasn't for everybody. But Star Wars does have shows that target a whole bunch of different audiences. So even if it's not universally acclaimed amongst the Star Wars audience, these little offshoot shows can bring more people into the brand. Like, hey, people who don't normally watch Star Wars might like Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. Let's bring that in. Or people who don't normally like Star Wars might like Manny Jacinto and The Acolyte. Let's bring that in. And go from there, keep building on this universe, keep building different areas of the galaxy that people can enjoy, similar to how Andor is completely different and builds on in different areas of the galaxy for people to enjoy as well. Keep doing it. I love this stuff. Whew, that was a little bit of a rant. What was my next topic? Man, y'all got me going. So not only was it Star Wars Day, we also have the fact that it is Free Comic Book Day weekend. Now, for those of you who have never heard of this prestigious event, Free Comic Book Day is a day in which, how about I bring it up? Free Comic Book Day is a day in which all of the big major comic book publishers put out comics that they give away for free. Absolutely free. The only thing you have to do is go to the store and get it. That's it. Just go to the comic book store. It's on a shelf. Grab it. Walk out. I don't even know if you got to ring it up. They just let you take it. It's a free comic book. And the purpose of this is to bring in new readers with new jumping on points for some of Marvel's favorite series and storylines. One of the biggest points of intimidation for fans with comic books, with Marvel, with superheroes in general, is it feels like that there's a lot of homework that needs to get done. Like, you can't just jump in because some of these characters have existed for decades. Like, Spider-Man came out in 1963? Like, he's been around for decades. So a lot of people get intimidated thinking that you have to read so many comics just to be able to follow what's going along. And this is where Marvel's like, nah, let's cut the crap. This is where DC's like, nope, dive in. This is where Image is like, come on, we got new number ones. And they give you comics where you can just jump in from the beginning and get a free story and decide if it's for you. So Free Comic Book Day, for those of you who don't know, is an annual event, which I love because it coincides with Star Wars Celebration weekend. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys where you can find your free comic books. So if you're not familiar with it, head on over to freecomicbookday.com. They give you opportunities to get a sneak peek as to what comics are out there, what's available. One of my favorite things is to always get gargoyles. I love gargoyles. I've been a fan of this since Disney Afternoon when I was a kid. But you get a list of all the comics that are out there. And you can see which ones you want to target, right? So that's the other thing. These comics sometimes become in high demand. It looks like Marvel put out a Fantastic Four X-Men #1 bundle. You can see right here that they've got a brand new Fantastic Four story to help with people who are probably going to get introduced to the team with this summer's movie. You can hop right in. And of course, they love to use... Here we go. You guys couldn't see that. So yeah, here's the new comic to hunt down if you're interested. The new Fantastic Four comic. It's a great jumping on point. Switching back over to what other comics they have here. Let's see. We saw the Fantastic Four. There's a bunch of them. Godzilla, New Heroes, Hulk Teach Pie, Gargoyles, Def Leppard's Hysteria. There's so many different comics from so many different publishers, even the non-traditional publishers like Marvel and DC. Even these other creators are out here putting out free comics for you to get a jumping on point to see if this is something that might be a hobby that you could find yourself being interested in. But yeah, freecomicbook.com. And the other thing I like about this is that if I remember correctly, this website will help you find where to get them, right? You can click right over here, click find a shop, type in your zip code, I don't know, 104, and find some locations near you. Now, I typed in the New York area. You'll see that a few places pop up. This is probably Midtown Forbidden Planet, Action City Comics, Galaxy Collectibles, St. Mark's Comics, Taylor and Company. But St. Mark's, they moved. St. Mark's was a big comic book place in Lower Manhattan for years and years and years. But yeah, you can go onto this website, track down your free comics, and if you don't want them, you can gift them to someone who might be interested in comics. Get ready. If you want to start stacking for Christmas gifts now, here's your opportunity. But yeah, freecomicbookday.com is something I did want to acknowledge to all my friends who are absolutely interested in comic book stories like I am. So what do we got here? From season 4, not till 2026. Yeah, it's not looking like it's going to come anytime soon. What? I just walk to any store and get a comic? That's a dope deal. Look, it's got to be. I would say go to the ones that are comic book shops. Don't just go into Walmart. Go to a comic book or a collector's shop and you got it. Debbie, appreciate you coming through. What's going on, Debbie? Thank you for coming by. Just dropping a like. Hey, I take likes on delivery. Those are accepted. Those are very much accepted. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. What else did I want to do? I think that was it. I think that was my last segment. I did want to talk about Free Comic Book Day. We talked about Sinners' box office. We talked about The Last of Us Season 2. We talked about Thunderbolts. Man, yeah, I think this was going to, like I said, this was going to be a quicker live stream. But I'm open to a little bit of Q&A if you guys wanted to shoot the... Oh, man. I did have one other thing I wanted to tell you guys. I'm opening up memberships. I'm opening up channel memberships on the movie blog. It is something that is coming. It's been something that's been asked for me of a very long time. So listen up. I've got details. I've got news. I've got news harder than Marvel leaks and deeper than those From theories that you love. I'm officially dropping channel memberships tonight. Tonight. That's right. The join button is going live tonight. You've got 2 flavors to pick from with this. It's going to be the correct crew, which is going to be giving early videos, exclusive polls, shout outs, and custom emojis. They got approved. It took me a while, but I've been working with a YouTube ambassador, and we've been I've been plotting a way to bring you this stuff now. I've got custom shout outs. I got custom emojis that lets you spam my face whenever you disagree with me or whenever I'm right, which is always. Or you can step up to the TMB Insider group. Now, the TMB Insider, you're going to get all the goodness plus VIP live streams. So private live streams just for you as a TMB member. You're going to get behind the scenes chaos when I talk to you guys about how I'm such a big comic book fan. I owe you guys a room tour, right? I owe you guys a room tour. So that's coming tonight. So let me just give you a quick little boom, ba-dum. You guys have been able to see that the room has been expanded. It has been upgraded. I'm going to give you guys a room tour into what is all in here. What is all this stuff I have up here? What are all my books? What are all my paintings? What makes up Anthony's studio and space? I definitely want to give you guys some inside looks. Of course, Mom is always here. Bishop is here. Batman is here. My Pokeball is here. Thomas Wayne is here. And for those of you who question my love for Doom, my Dr. Doom mask is here. Yes, my own Dr. Doom mask is here. Batman Who Laughs, Groot, for anybody who thinks I don't like Guardians of the Galaxy. I want to give you all a look into my space, into my world, and to join in with me into this adventure in YouTube memberships. But like I said, as a TMB Insider, you're going to get all of this, plus your name shining brighter than an infinity stone right in the credits. And look, if joining isn't your jam, don't worry. Nothing changes for you except maybe my judgment. slightly. Kidding, mostly. But everything else is going to stay the same for you. This is just icing on the cake, a little bit of bonus if you want to ride with me. You've been rocking with me and you just want to see a little bit more of what it takes to put all this stuff together. Now, my Patreon members have already seen some of this. I think Markeisha can attest. She's watched me edit videos in Patreon only live streams. And I talk about my process, talk about all the work that goes into bringing these shows together, because I promise you, this isn't 2 hours of prep time and then hit live. This is a lot more than that. And you should know. Why not? Join in. I'm lonely. I need friends. Somebody keep me company when I'm editing. Anyway, hit join, choose your adventure. Let's keep this thing moving, keep it authentic, and most importantly, keep it correct. You ready? I'm ready. Let's go. But yeah, anything that you guys want to do, feel free. Join, don't join. I'm going to enjoy having you all around either way. I appreciate you. That's all I have for this one. Again, if you guys are new here to The Correct Opinion, I'm your TMB homie, Tony. I'm going to be back here next Thursday. Thursdays are usual nights where we're going to go over the next episode of The Last of Us. Maybe I'll actually give you guys the images from the next episode. Like, I got the images for episode 3, but I know you guys have already seen the trailer. So how much spoilers do you need? Episode 4, excuse me. I got the images for episode 4, but maybe I'll give you the images for episode 5. We'll go there. That's all for this one. I'm going to check you all later. Peace.